As promised, I'm back from vacation with not only a brand new Full Build Friday, but a freshly remastered character as well. Based on the votes following the last remastered build, I'm here to proudly present Magic the Gathering's very own Tasigur, the Golden Fang. Before we get into it, if you want to vote on the next character to be remastered, check out the post on the channel and cast your vote. As for this character, he came from one of my favorite sets, but only has a single creature card to his name. Let's see what build goals we can extract from what little we have. We'll start with the bit of lore that we know, and we will be focusing on the pre-Fates Reforged stuff where he was more of a character and less of a corpse. Tasigur is the cruel and spoiled master of the Sultai Brood, a swamp-dwelling group largely consisting of humans, zombie servants, naga, and rakshasa demons. Our character in question is regularly depicted being accompanied by and tended to by zombie servitors. He wields a sharp-tipped whip both as a weapon and a means of punishment. Getting into some proper mechanical business, Tasigur is a black card, a color of mana associated with ambition, free will, and amorality. However, like the rest of his clan, he's also connected to blue mana, representing logic and technology, as well as green mana, embodying instinct and interdependence. In his soul card, he's depicted as a 4 power and 5 toughness human shaman with the Delve keyword, which allows the player to exile cards in the graveyard to reduce his cost. Additionally, he has effect on field that can be used to kill some of his owner's library to instead steal from an opponent's graveyard. Outside of this card, the Tasigur's Cruelty card forces all opponents to discard 2 cards, while other cards connected to his clan features elements such as swamps, decay, and of course, the undead. To bring that all together, Tasigur is a whip-wielding zombie-commanding brat whose association with deck-discarding effects will be best represented through mental manipulation effects. He should likely have some self-detrimental or harming abilities, and the power to steal resources from others to really capture his essence. With all that said, we can go ahead and start with Ancestry. While Tasigur may be a member of a wildly diverse faction, he is ultimately a human, and that is where I settled for this pick. I think you could also look at something along the lines of Vishkanya, and it would still be a solid fit, but there are some mechanical benefits out of the human ancestry. First off, it gives us access to the versatile human heritage, which will let this build start with the toughness feat, based on the higher toughness of Tasigur's card. Secondly, it grants us Gloomseer, one of those pesky feats that has to be taken at first level, but does grant him low light vision. The free boosts are also nice, and will go towards dexterity and charisma for now. Tasigur is described as the heir of the Sultai Brood, which led to me using the royalty background for him. I think this meshes nicely with his bratty and commanding nature, and provides our scheming Sultai Sultan solely with society as a trained skill. It does also grant him courtly graces, and expands its use a little bit by letting him better boss around commoners within his lands. Finally, it provides him with a boost to charisma, as well as a free boost to dexterity, echoing those of his ancestry. We've already made some changes from the pre-master build, as I lean into some of the darker aspects of Tasigur's characterization that I initially failed to reflect. We're going to continue that trend with his class, as he takes up the Oracle class rather than Bard. He's still a charisma-based caster, but this time he'll be wheeling and dealing in divine spells. However, the Oracle comes with a curse that advances as he makes use of its innate powers, which I think nicely reflects his whole graveyard-destroying delve, as well as his self-milling effects. As for what mystery we'll be using, while I was initially looking at the Bones mystery, for obvious reasons, the Divine Mysteries book recently introduced the Blight mystery, which I think serves as an even better fit. This provides him with training in nature, as well as the Whispers of Weakness Oracle feat. One of my favorites that used to simply be a focus spell. It's now a standard action with the Curse-bound trait, whereas his starting focus spell will be Ulcerous Canker, a gnarly little spell with a swath of damage types rolled up into it. As for his standard spells, Daze is a solid starting cantrip, given the association with mental effects, and he's also granted access to Caustic Blast from his mystery. Perhaps more important though are his first rank spells, which will include some fantastic options such as the obviously requisite Summon Undead, Command, and your choice of debuffing effects in the form of Enfeeble or Fear. And whichever of those you don't pick up now, you could certainly take at second level. But for the remainder of this level, all we have to worry about is skills and scores. As an oracle, Tasigur will be trained in religion as well as nature through his mystery. This leaves him to spend starting skill increases on acrobatics, deception, intimidation, and thievery. For his ability scores, we'll be boosting his dexterity, constitution, intelligence, and charisma. The last of these will receive the heaviest focus in his build since that is what his spells rely on, but I do also intend to devote to dexterity at least a bit so that he might better wield his whip. To start second level, Tasigur will take Domain Acumen for the Decay Domain, developing the Deadly Withering Grass focus spell so that he has another option to use with his Whispers of Weakness feature. For his skill feat, I'd look at Charming Liar. While there is some background lore that suggests that Tasigur might not care too much for being charming, this will be useful in an actual campaign, and make use of the deception that we'll be developing. Case in point, level 3. As promised, this has a skill increase to make him an expert in deception, but it also grants signature spells. Obviously, Summon Undead will get immediately signatured, while second rank signature spell will be Bone Shaker, an option that deals in nefarious necromancy while also letting him exert control over others. Another good pickup here though is Carrion Mire, which has some superficial resemblance to cards such as Dousing Gloom. When it comes to the general feat for this level, he'll use Ancestral Paragon to take unconventional weaponry. This will let him treat Scorpion Whips as a simple weapon, so that he can wield the sharp-tipped whip that he's depicted holding. For our fourth level, we fit in a Bard Dedication, harkening back to the pre-master build even to the point that we'll be sticking with the Warrior Muse. This will make him train in occultism and performance, while also providing him with some occult cantrips. Notably, these cantrips will be charisma based, but if Bard isn't your style, you could also consider an occult sorcerer archetype for a similar effect. With our Caustic Caster's class feat covered, we can concoct Confabulator as our skill feat, delving deeper into deception and letting him better weave his lies together so that his victims don't catch on to his tricks until it is far too late. As for his fifth level, we start with ability boosts going to his Dexterity, Constitution, Wisdom, and Charisma, and we also get a skill increase to Thievery, as that will become important shortly. Before it can though, we do take Darkseer as our Ancestry feat to help him better navigate his dismal domain. Additionally, this level comes with third rank spells, which will most prominently feature Bind Undead, granting him another necromancy spell that can steal control of another creature. I also like Rouse Skeletons, once again referencing the art for Dousing Gloom. With our Pampered but Petulant Prince's 6th level, Tasigur takes Basic Bard Spellcasting. Phantom Pain isn't a bad first rank spell here, but what I'm looking for specifically, and will be signaturing, is Umbral Theft. Tasigur notably steals non-land cards, which are spells in Magic the Gathering, from the grave, and I think this option is a fantastic way to represent that. It's also why we've been investing in Thievery, though we can also use that for Dirty Trick, which might maybe match a mage a bit better, at least in the case where he can use this and then cast a spell that forces a reflex save, taking advantage of the clumsy condition while circumventing the attack trait of the action itself. Settling into 7th level, Tasigur becomes an expert spellcaster, and a master of deception while also gaining a mysterious resolve for his saves. From his general feats, he gains fast recovery, solely based on how MTG creatures heal up at the end of each round, and also taps into 4th rank spells. We'll mainly be looking at necromantic spells here, such as Necrotic Radiation, Whispers of the Void, and Talking Corpse. That gets us to 8th level, where Advanced Revelation grants Tasigur the Purging Toxins focus spell. This is a hurt to help sort of spell, which fits beautifully with Tasigur's general theme, and might call to mind some of the more restorative effects associated with green mana. On the skill side of things, Slippery Secret seems suspiciously solid for this Soul Tie Scoundrel. It will let him hide his intentions from the other clan leaders before unleashing Silumgar upon them, as we've seen in the Face Reforged setting, which we are otherwise largely ignoring. Continuing to 9th level, Tasigur gains some magical fortitude as well as a skill increase that makes him an expert in occultism, which we will need to invest in to attain more powerful bardic magic. He gets another 2-timing feat, using the Natural Ambition Ancestry feat to take Foretell Harm. This is simply a solid option, being a free action that can increase his cursed state to slip in some extra damage as a free action. For the 5th rank spells that he gains here, Shadow Blast is a great spell to use alongside Whispers of Weakness, letting Tasigur tailor his damage type to suit whatever weakness he uncovers. However, I also like both Summon Dragon and Summon Fiend. While Rakshasa aren't classified as fiends in Pathfinder, their card type is almost unilaterally demons in Magic the Gathering, which does make it work quite nicely in my opinion. We start 10th level with ability boost to Dexterity, Constitution, Intelligence, and Charisma. That boost to Intelligence means that he'll become trained in Athletics, just in case he wants to use any maneuvers with his whip. I like Debilitating Dichotomy as his class feat here, as this is another double-edged sword type of effect, allowing him to deal considerable mental damage to both himself and a target with a will save. So we also get some more of those mental effects. As for selecting his skill feat, I settled on Schooled in Secrets. Something about this feels right for the insidious nature of the Sultai and their constant scheming, as well as the fact that they do seem to be involved with a variety of demons, which might inspire a few cults. For Tasigur's 11th level, the main class feature is Divine Access, which is a complicated choice to make, though Urgathoa might suit Tasigur the best given their similarities. This is a pretty jam-packed level even aside from that, with Tasigur being able to achieve his Major Curse, Oracular Senses, Weapon Expertise, and a skill increase that makes him a master in Occultism. With his general feat, Incredible Investiture should let him wield the wide array of treasures that the Sultai have accumulated. He also gets some 6th rank spells here, though nothing is particularly calling to me. You could maybe consider Necrotize, giving him a way to cause foes to waste and wither away, but that isn't entirely his thing. However, Tasigur is still going strong as he takes Expert Bard spellcasting at 12th level, which will notably grant him Umbral Graft, another way to steal the magic of others, as well as something along the lines of Slither, given the association of snakes with the Sultai. Now that class feat there required him to invest in a bit of occultism, and his skill feat is no different for this level. Disturbing Knowledge may let him reveal some secrets of Sultai zombification practices that horrify and potentially confound those that hear his tales. And if that doesn't work, I'm sure he's got plenty of other tales to terrify. With his lucky level 13, Tasigur gains Light Armor Expertise, Weapon Specialization, and Premonitions Reflexes. Obviously, he also gets a skill increase, which he'll use this time around to become a master in Thievery. I like Shadow Pact as his ancestry feat, as it gives another effect that requires him to make a sacrifice, admittedly only a single point of HP, to gain a benefit. And that just keeps on theme with the character. As for the featured feat of 14th level, we are looking at Greater Revelation, to gain Accelerated Decomposition. This is a nifty little spell, since it can inflict 3 conditions in addition to a bit of damage. Sticking with strangeness, he selects Bizarre Magic as his skill feat. Blue mana has undoubtedly given Tasigur some knowledge when it comes to countering spells, and this should make it a little bit harder to do so against him. With the ability boost at 15th level, Tasigur can increase his Dexterity, Constitution, Wisdom, and Charisma. This level makes him a Master Spellcaster, as well as a Legend in Deception. He'll take Robust Health with his general feat, simply so that he can recover from wounds and the like more swiftly, just in case he gets hurt trying to use Dirty Trick or Withering Grasp. At 16th level, we're sticking with Bard options through Occult Breath, solely so that our smug snake of a spellslinger has more slots to use Umbral Extraction for. Then, for something nearly necromantic, he takes Consult the Spirits, so that he can call upon spirits and specters, disturbing the rest to serve his own selfish needs. His Expert Bard spellcasting sees him getting a 6th rank spell here, which can be used to grab Nevermind, thematically resembling milling and discarding effects as they are flavored in Magic the Gathering. Now before we get to the class feat at 18th level, we'll need to increase Occultism at 17th level, so that he's a Legend of it. For his other class feats, he gains Extreme Curse, as well as Greater Mysterious Resolve. He takes Heroic Presence as his ancestry feat, giving him a single action to bolster his allies as he spends his spells and such to hamper his foes. Now arriving at level 18, Tasigur takes Master Bard Spellcasting. None of the spells here really stand out, but it will let him cast higher rank Umbral spells, and increases the number of ranks affected by Occult Breath. Alongside that, he takes Reveal Machinations, another single action ability with a potent effect to penalize opponents with, something that should easily combo with Heroic Presence and a 3rd action of his choice. With 19th level, he becomes a legendary spellcaster, achieves oracular clarity, and becomes a legend in thievery. For his general feat, Fleet just helps him get in or sometimes out of the fight faster, and just might end up saving him an action or two. To close out the build, Tasigur starts with ability boost to his strength, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. This intelligence boost means that he gets a skill increase to make him trained in stealth. But for his capstone feat, I'm looking at Mystery Conduit, allowing him to cast lower rank spells at the sake of simply increasing his curse, without losing a spell slot. When it comes to rounding out his skill feat selection, he takes Doublespeak, mainly because it seems like the duplicitous, shady sort of stuff that Tasigur would get up to if given even half of a chance. If you're looking to play Tasigur in a game, which I hope you are, he'll likely serve as a controller and debuffer who can literally clog the battlefield with bodies to the likes of Summon Undead or Carrion Mire. While enemies struggle to even reach him, he'll be able to inflict conditions with the likes of Fungal Infestation, Accelerated Decomposition, or Fear and Enfeeble. Sorcerers and the such will similarly struggle as he steals their spells with Umbral Extraction, or mind-rending effects along the lines of Nevermind or Stupefy. As for a free Archetype game, Tasigur could expand on the Bard dedication by working up to a Dirge of Doom, but he could also look at the Corpse Tender dedication, Reanimator dedication, or the Undead Master dedication. These all grant him different ways of interacting with undead, though I do think Corpse Tender might fit the best given the Sultai's use of zombies and similar simplistic undead. That about covers this corpse calling creep, but does this build really match the luster of the so-called Golden Fang? Let's review and find out. Tasigur the Golden Fang is a versatile human oracle of the Blight mystery and the royalty background, calling to mind his role as the heir of the Sultai brood. He fills the ranks of the Sultai with demons through Summon Fiend, and the Naga through something like Slither. His use of undead is largely regulated to flavor text and art, but we can demonstrate it through spells such as Summon Undead and Rouse Skeletons. By taking the unconventional weaponry Ancestry feat, Tasigur can wield a Scorpion Whip without issue to represent his favorite instrument of punishment. His focus on necromantic spells resembles his association with black mana, but he can also pick up some manipulating and bolstering effects based on his connection to blue and green mana, respectively, as well. Since he has a slightly higher toughness, he takes the general feat of the same name and invests in his constitution a bit. To represent some of the self-harm effects associated with the card and his playstyle, such as Delve and Self-Mill, Tasigur looks for some ways to inflict negative effects on himself, such as his Curse as an Oracle, and feats such as Debilitating Dichotomy and Shadow Pact. Focusing on mental spells, particularly those like Fear and Nevermind, is a solid way to represent his Tasigur's cruelty, while his Blight Mastery and Rot-themed spells are good for his other associated cards. Notably, Carrion Mire looks like a fantastic fit for some things such as Douse and Gloom. A sinister sovereign of the Sultai, this sorcerer sends scores of shades to spook and slaughter unsuspecting scrubs, while shooting spells in swift succession until surrender is certain. Quick reminder, check out my post to vote on the next character to be remastered. Other than that, let me know what you think of this build and what other sorts of builds you'd like to see in a comment. If you like what you see here and want more, be sure to leave a like and then subscribe to the channel. You can also check out the blog, which is linked below along with the Twitter and Discord. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic Friday.